opportunity to be with you today. KSA has been attracting a lot of attention over the past 7 years since launching Vision 2030. And I think it's also an opportunity for us to go through an insightful session so that you know what's happening in the region. So we all know that the construction market in KSA has been emerging as a leader in the Middle East and North Africa, with an estimated $70 billion worth of construction contracts being launched at this stage, and estimated to reach $180 billion in 2029. The growth attributed is definitely part of the Vision 2030 in KSA. We can see PIF, the Public Investment Fund, have launched giga projects and mega projects in Kingdom. You have heard a lot about NEOM, you have heard a lot about DGDA and the Red Sea, and a lot of the giga projects that are contributing to the economy. However, at the same side, there's challenges that we face on our day-to-day, and the biggest challenge that we face is around procurement and the supply chain. And today, I'm honored to be with my esteemed colleagues that are subject matter experts in the construction industry, so at least we can discuss some of these challenges and try to find solutions that we can share with the audience. So let me start first with Jacob. I mean, I know that you've been in KSA for a long time. You're working on one of the challenging projects, which is also in a remote area. And from your perspective, and I will start with the general procurement issues that we face on the day-to-day lives on our projects, before maybe we go into deep dive. But from your perspective, if you want to pick the three main challenges that we currently face in KSA when it comes to procurement.
Good morning. So, as we all know, Saudi Arabia can be quite a fun and an interesting environment. Often we find ourselves in Jeddah or Riyadh, in the big tier 1 cities, as we like to call them, where everybody's focused. I myself am down in the southwest region in Jazan. Great region if you've never visited it, I highly recommend it. Our procurement and our items, the items that we're procuring are often more difficult. We run into logistics nightmares, are very difficult, as we all know in Saudi Arabia. We can face those. Payment terms are often difficult, and a variety of other regulations. What we're doing in our region is we have been awarded one of the special economic zones, which I won't talk about much today, but we are really focused on developing those special economic zone areas, which would be very great for suppliers to focus on. Additionally, your local content requirements is something that we all need to be focused on. They're changing. It's a great opportunity to really improve your local content Saudiization, and I think that's a great opportunity for us. It's sometimes seen as an obstacle, but I believe it can be something that really helps us grow our market into Saudi Arabia is by focusing on the local content.
Thank you, Jacob. Bakr, from your side, I know you're in a different region. You're based in Jeddah, and you've seen also two stages in KSA, maybe before Vision 2030 and after Vision 2030. And you've seen also rules and regulations changing, improving in the right direction, so it accommodates the challenges that we face in a day-to-day activity. From your perspective, when it comes to the procurement, if we want to look at what the government have done to enhance the procurement strategies and also to attract companies from overseas to come to KSA, we know what NISA is doing and other entities as well. If you want to shed the light a little bit on what have the government been doing in the background since launching Vision 2030 to ease the procurement and to attract international suppliers.
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, they did very excellent change, in terms of having a lot of PIF companies. These one, previously the local content and the governmental purchasing and like that, it was a little bit complicated. Having a lot of rule and regulation, which is impacting the time and the time to seal the deal. What happened today, they introduced a lot of company, which is under PIF. The way of purchasing or contracting in, let's say, in private sector is totally different than the governmental sector. So I think it was a good movement from government side to shift their project, not under any ministry or any pure government entity, to company. This movement released a lot of pressure, of regulation, terms and conditions, even the time of bidding, etc., etc. From from what I see, the most challenging point now in Saudi market is the area of logistics. It's not procurement or contracting, procurement and contracting, it's there. Yes, there is some pressure in the area due to the mega project which is introduced to the kingdom, and it's very, very mega project, big mega project. This would impact, and increase pressure for the local, let's say, contractor. The challenge now is how to expand local contractor in order to be in the same level of the mega project and logistic area. I wish that within the time, okay, we catch up within that area.
Thank you, Bakr. And Sam, and it's really nice to have a diverse audience with us today. Sam, from your angle, you're working with a authorized body. You also look a lot at the human angle when it comes to procurement, upscaling, making sure that we have the right skills in the region, and especially around KSA. We all believe that Bakr mentioned challenges around warehouses and logistics, and I think from your side, you might be able to shed some light around the challenges when it comes to people, and what are the efforts that are being done on the ground at this stage to upscale the human factor. So it will be interesting to hear your point of view on that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Maroun, and look, good morning, everyone, for a start. Procurement supply chain, people sit at the heart of procurement supply chain. So really, all the efforts we're talking about here, whether it's manufacturing, logistics, or anything around getting some of these projects finished, it's all going to rely on people. And what we realized some years ago, and actually was identified by the government, we worked closely with them, is to plug that capability gap, that human capital capability gap, in skills relating to procurement and supply chain. So we're working very hard with most of the PIF entities and related companies in Saudi and across the region, basically to provide those procurement and supply chain skills and to provide an army of skilled procurement and supply chain people, because those people ultimately will come up with the solutions that are needed. Because as this panel exemplifies, the solutions are vast. We need solutions, and it's going to rely on having some skilled procurement and supply chain people to do that. So, yeah, on the human capital side, which is one side of what we do as CIPS, we're working closely with most of the PIF entities and a lot of the government entities, from Ministry of Culture to all the Royal Commissions, to build an army of professional procurement people.
Thank you so much. And Fadi, you've been in KSA for a long time as well, and you're currently working closely with one of the PIF companies. You're involved with Qiddiya, and we know how challenging this program is. They have a big milestone. They have projects or phases under construction, and they're also still procuring additional future stages as well. And I know that the big elephant in the room is the contractor. And the contractors, and able to attract contractors and external contractors to KSA. Because the market is tight, and we have to bring external people to the country. From your experience working on such a complicated and bigger project in KSA, what are the efforts that are being made on the ground to attract international contractors?
question. Thank you, Maroun. Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be with you today. It's challenging attracting qualified contractors. Our projects are fast-track nature, so we have deadlines to meet. We cannot miss these deadlines. Our projects also are unique, so the world haven't seen such cities being built in a short period. What we're doing, we're listening to the market. We're engaging with all contractors locally and in the region, GCC and local region. So contractors are motivated to come work with us. We're establishing new methodology, new procurement processes and contracts also to attract contractors, to motivate them and to fulfill our requirements as we are part of my company is part of also PIF. So to meet these goals, we have a defined strategy. We have good contractors, tier 1 contractors. We were surprised by the amount of contractors that showed interest in our projects to work with us. And hopefully we are working towards completing our strategy so very soon.
Thank you.
Some new announcements.
Perfect. And Fadi, in terms of the contract terms when it comes to these contractors, are there any specific requirements, and how can we help, in every person's position, even if you're working with a consultant or working with a PIF company, how we can help to mitigate the contract term challenges?
What is good is that we have a new government tender and procurement laws that was recently awarded, so we're following these procedures. We have also good procurement standardized forms and standardized also platforms, so contractors are getting familiar with our platforms, our technology, and we are following up from the early stages, from the expression of interest, and everything now is on the platform, so it's easy and quick. And we're having sessions also with all contractors to explain our ways of working. So it's being smooth, and this helps also reduce the time needed to award the contracts, since the contracts is being standardized. Yeah, that's helpful.
Thank you, Fadi. Jacob, from your angle, I know you're in a different region, you might face different challenges. Some projects are in Riyadh, centralized in Riyadh, it's easier. When we're talking about some of the remote areas, and we know that there are a lot of projects in KSA that are considered to be challenging when it comes to the location, are you talking to the same type of contractors, or you're trying to go internationally, trying to attract different pool?
So working with the Royal Commission, we've had a lot of the same contractors for many decades now. They know how to bid the jobs, they know how to win the jobs, and they know how to deliver the jobs according to the Royal Commission. So it's kind of tough for some of the newer contractors to the region to break into it. But we've really rolled out a concerted effort to do outreaches for contractors. We're focusing on contractors, some of the larger contractors that are in the kingdom, maybe in the other regions, and trying to draw them into our bidding processes. We've rolled out similar processes as well with the platforms and the standardized contracts to make it easier for people to make the jump over. But we are having some difficulty. It's a prime location for people to come in and break into a new market.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So it's interesting, we've talked about the contractors, we've talked about the human element also with Sam. Bakr, let's go back to the materials. And again, when we talk about 180 billion US dollars by 2028 in terms of the projects, we can imagine the pressure and the stress on the materials, on the supply chain, on the logistics. And I know Jeddah is a hub, and I know that we have, logistic initiatives launched in that region. However, there are still some challenges as well. So from your side, how can we fix that issue moving forward? What are the initiatives that should be rolled out in KSA, especially when it comes around the logistics in terms of the warehouses and the supply chain?
Actually, there is one big point we have to consider. The decision, let's say, of moving. You just mentioned the number and the figure, which is very huge. Yesterday, I do recall Tariq, when he said that if you catch or you don't catch, So from here we can understand why the decision taken to move the headquarters to Saudi Arabia. It's a mega project. It's, we'll not say billions of riyal, it's a trillion of riyal to be built, to be consumed within, you know, for me, a short time. Yeah, 2030 is a short time. So this is why the decision came, I believe the decision came to move the headquarters to Saudi Arabia, is to shorten the time, shorten the process. If you are a foreigner and you are selling something to Saudi Arabia, you will stuck with LGs, LCs, etc. All of that thing, which is make it too much delay. You already have a challenge in the time for delivery. You already have a time challenges for logistics and shipping, especially about what we are facing today by the regional issues, which should reflect, you know, in the insurance, and the insurance will raise up. So this is why, again, I do recommend and I do say more and more that moving the headquarters for any investor, any supplier, foreign supplier, should be done as soon as possible. As mentioned yesterday, time is running and there is no time. No time.
Thank you, Bakr. Sam, I'll move to you, and we all know the impact of AI these days. Technology is moving fast forward, and procurement also needs technology when it comes to analyzing data, so that we have right factual data and how it can help us with our supply chain. From your side, what are the new trends when it comes to AI and that are helping the procurement? What are the new tools that you see are currently there? And we already know that construction was always lagging behind when it came to technology, when it came to AI. And only recently it's starting to catch up. We know that there are a lot of tools in the market that are helping on the project delivery. But if we want to talk specifically around procurement, from your side, what are the new trends when it comes to AI?
I think trends is a big word. You know, there are new initiatives. I think everybody says AI these days. AI can mean a lot of things, but look, technology should be that enabler that makes that change, that allows us to make that step change. So I think maybe 5 years ago we were talking about additive manufacturing or 3D printing. That's well established for those who want to use it. I don't think it's used enough, it's utilized enough, especially not in KSA. I think it's a right market to use technology such as that because of the scale in which things are being built. But that's not trending at the moment. Technology's there, it's not trending at the moment. From a procurement perspective, the most things that are being used are the sourcing tools. So the tools available for people to have access to a wider network, a wider range of suppliers without geographical boundaries. That's really what's being used more methodically at the moment. The analytical tools to analyze tenders in very, very fast ways. Really advanced procurement and supply chain departments are using tools to go out there, analyze suppliers, analyze materials, and make quick decisions. And also, I think the most recent tool are the AI tools which are out there to mitigate risk. So there's a number of tools out there now that will track shipments, look out for the pain points, look for the rerouting options, look for the impact or the cost implications of rerouting shipments from different parts of the world. So that's what's trending at the moment. But that's not all of this. I think really from my perspective, not just AI, because AI is an all-encompassing word, but technology is really pushing the boundaries to allow the procurement professionals to actually outsource the repetitive, more automated processes within procurement and allow them to take some time apart and actually use their brains a bit more to free up that mind space to come up with more innovative sourcing solutions, such as local sourcing, make or buy decisions. Are we going to procure something from a location far away, or are we going to have a medium to long-term option to produce that material locally? And how are we going to do that? What's the price point? At what point does it become cost neutral? So that's really where technology is really adding value at the moment.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Fadi, in every project, we face budget challenges, and this is where clients will ask for value engineering. This is where we have doubts around controlling the quality. And it's almost like a puzzle. Supply chain, quality, value engineering, being able to control the cost. From your angle, how on such complicated projects that you're working on and you have been involved on before, when it comes to value engineering that is impacting some of the materials, how are you balancing it between global versus local when it comes to a lot of these materials? And do you feel that the market is ready in KSA for local, and to what percentage it is?
Yeah, it's a common question that we're trying to mitigate nowadays. We've noticed lots of partnership currently in KSA, and I experienced this when I was contracted in one of the projects in So we had international contractors, suppliers who came and established a partnership with a local company to start producing material here in Riyadh. So this helped a lot because of the proximity, so we were able to change the sample, to adapt the sample according to the project, and this helps a lot and reduced also the price. Cost of price of producing in KSA is less. So the supplier understood the market, understood the culture, the business processes in KSA, and he partnered with a good company and we awarded the work. So this should be also planned in advance. So it takes time, the process is long, it takes time, also certification has time implication and cost implication, Saber and others. So, but this is the right approach, I think. Lots of companies are start to shift also their hubs to KSA from the regional hubs to KSA, so they will serve KSA market and the region market as well. Also, we're engaged of some bulk on several projects, on different projects in Riyadh. We're engaged also with the contractor and suppliers directly to have bulk orders, so we can agree with different suppliers to have orders for different projects. So this also enables them to plan their production lines if it is abroad. And we are looking into long-term contracts with them, so that if they succeed in one project, we can award different projects. So this is also an incentive for suppliers to work with us on a long-term relationship.
Oh, thank you, Fadi. Jacob, I'll go back to you when it comes to the due diligence of the vendors or these suppliers. And again, entering into a KSA market for a lot of vendors, it's a new venture. It's different, and we were talking before altogether about it's a different culture, it's a different territory for a lot of the European or American or even international suppliers. And to be able to treat them fairly and to be able to do a technical due diligence that is compared apple to apple with all these companies. Are there currently tools that you are currently using? How are you able to do and advise the clients when it comes to certain benchmark? Is it just the quality? Is it the price? Is it the time? How are we able to maybe present solutions while doing the vendor management or the vendor technical due diligence as well?
It's a good question. I think this is something we struggle with often because it's always low cost, low price, right? And that doesn't necessarily always service the best. So it's something we're constantly struggling with to make sure we're getting our client what they need and what they're paying for. So the due diligence and putting that into the bid process is normally pretty easy, but sometimes it can be more challenging than one would think. I think we've all dealt with it probably in every country we've worked in.
Actually, what they think, all in the organizations, they think that supply chain people, they are having the magic stick. So we just say abracadabra and things will be like that. And they don't think that we're behind these team and these department. There's an audit, there's a lot of headache, and we are looking to secure the organization from inside and outside. This is a problem which I think all of us in supply chain we are facing. Yeah.
And even if you allow, we're facing these budgets and value engineering across all the projects. My experience in France also, in Giga project, and in Spain, and different also city developments. So we're always faced by budget constraints, So what we engage all the stakeholders to work together, to achieve this. Today, for example, in KSA, we have early contractor engagement, that we start working with contractor procurement agency from the beginning, from the concept design stage. This will help also to have some certainty over the cost, over the materials that we choose, and the program of work. So, because also the program have an impact, as our panelist Badr said, so this supply chain impacted our project, especially in the global conditions. Some shipments were delayed. This has impact on the project, especially some of the projects that need to open soon. So this is impacting us and hurting us sometimes. That's why new trends now are emerging in KSA. These new trends have never been experienced globally. So we have new experience here in KSA that is beneficial to the global economy as well as general.
Excellent. Thank you, Fadi. Bakr, I'll go back to you, and I know that today we have a big audience when it comes to vendors, suppliers from our European territory. And you know that the construction market, and I've mentioned figures at the beginning, $180 billion between now and 2030. And the government have already launched the projects, the new projects, in addition to the Expo 2030, the World Cup 2034. We have also Turkina Winter Olympic Games. We also have the Asian Games, football games. So these are hard date programs that they have to finish. There are other projects maybe you can compromise, but when it comes to a hard date, they have to finish. And I know that the government is always trying to improve with the local content, but when you have a hard date, sometimes you need both. You need the international manufacturing and also the local manufacturing. And I think today it's an opportunity for us, maybe as a message to all the supply chain, the international supply chain, to showcase the opportunity and to tell them that there is a big market for you. But for this big market, what is your advice for the supply chain? What should they look at? It's a different market. How can they tap into it? How can they go in, show their case themselves, talk to these giga projects, and make sure they are connected?
It's two sides, from always I say it like that. It's a buyer side and the sell side. From the buyer side, he should secure, let's say, terms and conditions. He should have two contracts, which is local contract and foreign contract. And he should align all of that with the local content. Sometimes, and recently, it started to be there that the supply chain department is to have, a lawyer, or it's not it's, let's say, a trading lawyer, so he can also assist them internally, and not even that, it's an internal lawyer and external lawyer, because this is a foreign rule and regulation. He should match it with the internal rule and regulation. From sales side, as I said at the beginning, that it's a time to move. These huge projects. Yes, we do have the capability inside the kingdom, but it reminds me by what happened in at the 70s, when the kingdom started to build up the bridges and the roads, and there is a huge boom in the whole kingdom. So this is the second facelift. I consider that this is the second facelift for the kingdom, for the whole kingdom, which require assistance also from outside. I do remember the Korean company when they came to make the roads and the bridges and how the situation was there. So again, this is the second facelift for the kingdom. It's require a huge manpower, a huge number of supplier and contractor, and it's time to move. Yeah, it's time to move.
Excellent.
If I was a supplier trying to break into the market, earlier we spoke a little bit about tier 1 and tier 2 cities. You've got the big cities, the Riyadh and the Jeddah, which you could be a little fish in a big pond. And you can find these tier 2 cities around the kingdom, the Yambus, the Jubels, Abha or Jazan, where I'm located, that are much easier to break in. You know, where you can get in, you can get those relationships built with the local clients or buyers, and it's much easier. Some of these tier 2 cities, I don't mean that negatively, but it's just a smaller city, has a growing need. The middle class is getting huge. The middle class is growing across the kingdom, and sometimes I think those areas would be much easier to break into. Logistics-wise, they can be easier too. The city that we're building, we just opened a port 2 years ago. Much easier to get in, bring your supplies in through the port, and then spread it around the kingdom. So I think focusing on the tier 2 cities could be quite valuable for a supplier trying to break in to the market.
So thank you, Jacob. Sam, sustainability is also an important topic, and I know that the KSA government had also set a hard date to reach a certain target with sustainability, and material will play a big role in it, and the construction contributes a big portion also to the net zero and then back around net zero. Is there an opportunity now with what's currently happening in KSA to put rules and regulations around materials that are being produced locally, or materials that are being imported, having certain requirements so that it helps achieving this target when it comes to sustainability?
Yes, excuse me, it's a great question, by the way. I think sustainability is not, one of the important considerations. Sustainability is the most important consideration. There are targets that are in place in terms of net zero. There's a very limited amount of time to achieve those targets. The biggest contribution to carbon emissions is construction. If you take away desalination and things along those lines. So I'll say sustainability is the most important consideration. So should there be initiatives being put in place right now around construction? Absolutely. And I think that the target should be, or the aim should be, for anything being construction to be targeted to be net zero upon completion. Otherwise, you don't want to be adding to the carbon burden already. The part of the world that we're in, well, not the part of the world we're in now, but the part of the world that Saudi is in is inherently unsustainable anyway. Okay, so there's lots of efforts that need to be put in place to sustain life, potable water, etc., desalination. So really, it's a requirement to double our efforts in construction to identify sustainable materials, and that's not just building materials. That is, the paper towels in your washroom to be recyclable. What they call the stage 3 emissions from your suppliers, the emissions that your suppliers are emitting, and an ability to capture what those are as well, so that you can actually understand what the carbon neutrality of your supply chain is. So every organisation actually needs to sit back at right now at the moment, whether you're a client or a contractor, and work out first of all how you are measuring your emissions, and because that's step one, that's the baseline. And then put in place strategies to ensure that going forward you are reducing to a point of zero what those emissions are. Only those organisations will have a sustainable future in this supply chain, because Saudi has a net zero target like anybody else, and at some stage there will be mandatory provisions put in place for suppliers to prove their carbon neutrality. So I would urge any suppliers to start doing that now. Start getting your credentials now, start measuring your carbon emissions, because that will become mandatory in the shortest amount of time. And by the way, I think we spoke earlier a little bit about the local sourcing requirements and local content. Well, those are rooted in sustainability, because local sourcing means reduced carbon, amongst other things. So I think sustainability is the key topic, and will become more so. And it's no mistake that the last two COPs were in the Middle East. COP 27 Egypt, COP 28 in the UAE. It is no mistake. This region has sustainability at its heart at the moment, and if we want to be forward-thinking, let's jump on board.
All right, thank you, Sam. Cautious of time, Fadi, I still have one question before I give the opportunity for a closing statement for everyone. Quality of the materials. And I know when you're talking about local supply, people are skeptical. Can we still control the quality? If we want to go and open a factory in KSA, if we want to take our brand or material to KSA, are we at risk of losing the quality? I know that you have delivered a lot of projects in KSA, and I know that you have used both local materials and international materials. And I think it will be important to give comfort to a lot of the audience that quality can be controlled. But from your experience, what are...
Quality is important for all our projects. That's why we insist on this for all suppliers that would like to come and start work in KSA about the quality. Even the imported materials also, we look into the quality, so always high quality material. Also what Sam said, also sustainability practice now is important for all materials, so we start engaging with all our suppliers to have not carbon or some materials that can achieve our requirement as sustainability as well. This is important. This is a milestone now for us, because we cannot start any project without having the sustainability requirement met and approved for our financing. So we're working hard. We're still in the initial stages, but some also private initiatives helped us a lot, you know. So when we meet with the private investors or others, so they are helping us in supply chain. Currently, there is no government initiative regarding the quality and sustainability certification. This is something that will come soon, I think, as I said, I agree with him. So we're dependent now on the private sector, you know, initiative and our requirement and our negotiation for each contract, you know, to meet this requirement, the quality requirement. And we are keen on quality. We are keen on quality. Yeah, we need many projects that are delivered. We were like, what we say in France, très pointu on quality. So this is not negotiable.
Thank you, Fadi. Just as a closing statement from our side and as a word of advice maybe to the audience, to a lot of our European colleagues, Jacob, any message you'd like to send out there about KSA, what's happening in KSA? I know they hear a lot, they read a lot of articles on Twitter as well, on social media, but from your side, what is the word of advice that you would really give them?
Well, we all know that KSA is booming. We're all excited about it. I love being there. I would rather be nowhere else. This is where I want to work, and evidently we all do. My advice would be, like anywhere, procurement, project delivery, whatever it may be, it's a relationship business we're in. So focus on building good quality relationships with the people you want to do business with, and make sure you deliver what you promised to do. I think it's so important. We all know it, it's a basic concept, but I think in Saudi, as much as anywhere, if not more, the relationship matters. And be loyal to the relationship. Make sure you deliver on your promises.
Thank you, Jacob. Bakr, I think from a local Saudi audience, let's say, what is the message? What is actually, and I know that the Saudi government is doing a lot of efforts to speak about KSA, but from your side, what is the message that you want to say?
I will say it proudly. Saudi market is very mature now, and if we calculate the time for Saudi and what we achieve, it's very fantastic. I think even a lot of countries now, they are copying whatever we do. In parallel, we have to mention actually our what you call it, electronic government or digital, which is fabulous. You know, even for the local content. I don't like to highlight the local content that it's a nightmare or something like that. You know, it's not like
it's an opportunity.
But, you know, a lot of projects, mega projects, and we need to secure our right with whatever, you know, we are dealing with. Now, I believe that it's a matter of click. You can sort out whatever, even for the local content terms and condition. It's a very unique market. It's very friendly market. The most important thing, and this is a message to convey to all suppliers, you have to build up your relation with any Saudi buyer or Saudi company which would like to deal with you in trust. You have to consider the culture. One of the mistakes which, let's say, whatever failing that, and it's a general, by the way, it's not only for Saudi or non-Saudi, whatever, that you have to take into one of the factors you have to take into consideration the culture of the country which you are dealing with. Again, I don't want, because the time is out, but we have a lot of challenges, but in the meantime, I'm proud that, and I'm sure that we will do it, inshallah.
Thank you, Bakr. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Fadi. Thank you, Jacob. It has been definitely an insightful session. If you have any questions, we will be around. I don't want to take time from the next session as well, but if you have any questions around KSA, around procurement, I think my colleagues, myself, are more than happy to provide you with answers. Thank you for your time.